Hey, Ray here from websiteprofitcourse.com. Right now, you're looking at the new 2023 theme that dropped recently with the latest WordPress update 6.1. Like all the others, it's pretty bare bones, but we're going to use full site editing to transform this into a photography website. So stick around as we do that step by step within this tutorial. And before we start, check out the links in the description below. I'm going to include this guide that you're looking at, which is all the steps that we're going to go through in this tutorial so you can do it at your own pace. And the first step here is register your domain and get web hosting. If you haven't done that step already, I recommend two companies to get started. The most affordable is going to be HostGator. And if you want to start on a little bit better technology to begin with, I recommend SiteGround. That's where I'm hosting my website and the one we're going to use in this tutorial. They offer better WordPress tools out of the box and it's a little bit more optimized. But over the past decade, I've used both of them for pretty much all my websites. So if you need a tutorial to get up and running with WordPress, I'll link them in the description below, and then you can join me back here because we're going to start working on 2023 right now. So here's the dashboard right after installing WordPress, and the first thing that we want to do is install and activate 2023. If you don't have that already, you want to go to Appearance Theme section, and you're going to see we have it installed and activated. That's what you were just looking at before. Here's the older themes 2021 and 2022, which was the first one to include full site editing. Before we get started with the editor, I'm going to just upload all my photos to the media library. That way they're there. I get my free stock photos from pexels.com. I'll include that link in the description below as well. They got a great selection, and I'm going to be uploading photos for urban photography. The next step that I want to do is just create a couple of pages and posts so that we have some content built out. So then when we start editing the theme, you at least see that content within the editor. So I'm going to include 4 pages, a home page, an about page, a blog page, and a contact page. And I'm just going to change this sample page because it already has some content in here to our about page. So I'll change the title here. Once you publish a post within WordPress, it's going to set the URL. So I want to reset this URL because if we go over here to the URL, you see the permalink is sample page. I'm going to change that to about, and then we're going to set the featured image. So if you didn't upload your images to the media library like I just did, you can do it one by one on here. I'm just going to jump over to the media library tab and select our one headshot image. So let me finish this up with the rest of these pages and a few blog posts, and I'll meet you back here when I'm done. Here's a look at the pages that we have created now. And if we go into the posts, I have 4 posts created, and I added some categories to these posts as well. So let's take a look at our site without doing any customizations, just by having some of this content on here. I'll reload. On our home page, we're showing our blog posts, and these are the featured images for these blog posts. And then if we go to the About page, you'll see our featured image here. It looks like there's some kind of opacity or overlay going on with this. And here's our content. We're going to customize this. The first thing I want to do is build a custom homepage layout. So I don't want it to show the blog posts, and we can adjust that from the settings. So let's go through the WordPress settings down here. We'll first go into the general menu, and this is where we change our site title and tagline. And this is something that you can insert into your templates as a block. I'm going to call this ABC Photography, and the tagline will be Capturing Urban Life. So let's save that, and then we'll go to the reading section. And this is where we're going to set our homepage and blog page. By default, WordPress shows your latest posts, but we want to create a homepage layout. So we're going to select the homepage that we created, and we're going to assign the post page to the blog page that we created. So let's save that. And then the other 2 sections that you might want to look at are the discussion section. This is where you can fine-tune your commenting settings. And the final section, which in our case, it's already set, but for you, you want to check it out first, is the permalinks. This is your URL structure, and it's really important that you don't want to switch this after your site's been around a while. So I always recommend setting it to post name by default. Now that we got these WordPress settings in place, we can jump over to the Appearance Editor section, and that's where we're going to do all our template customizations. So this automatically brings up one of your templates, and it shows the content. So in this instance, you want to look at the top center. And this is going to show the template that we're currently editing, which is the page template. And it's showing us our homepage content for this template. The other area that I like to enable is this list view. If you hover over this and click it, it's going to show you your entire template, all the blocks that are making up that template in this hierarchy. So you can dig into any one of them. And then when you do select an item within the template, you can look at the bottom left. And this is going to show you where that block is within the hierarchy. Now, to make some quick changes to your styles, you can go up to this icon here, the circle with the black and the white. And this is a new feature with 2023, and that is predefined styles. So if you go into the browse styles, you're going to see that you have I think it's 11 options here to completely customize your template without doing any of the manual customizations. So let's take a look at a few of these. This one's called aubergine, which funny enough, I'm a gardener and I didn't realize that aubergine is also known as eggplant, which is why it's purple. So we can go through a couple of these. You can see how the fonts and the colors all differ. And these styles have built-in styles for things like buttons, other kinds of blocks, and then you can go ahead and customize it. Now, I will say that I had some issues with overwriting some of these default styles. So there's obviously some bugs with this full site editing that need to be taken care of. But for the most part, it does give you a great base. And the one we're going to select is this marigold. So let's save this right now. And when you save here, it's going to tell you what areas of the template that you're updating. If I made a change to this template directly, it would show that I'm editing the page template. And then if I made changes to some of the template parts, such as the header or the footer, it would also show that on this right sidebar. So let's save it. And the other quick thing I want to show you is if you're like me and you've used WordPress for a long time, in order to make some of these changes, you had to know code. You had to know HTML and CSS code. And even with this full site editing, like I said, there's certain things you can't do with it. There's certain bugs that I found. So if you ever need to override something with CSS, you got to get to the customizer, which WordPress removes that from the appearance menu, but it still exists. You just have to access it from the URL directly. So what you want to type in is your WordPress admin URL /customize.php. And if we go to that, it should bring us to our customizer page, and we can paste in CSS code here within the additional CSS section. So let's start editing our templates. And we're going to jump into our templates, and you can browse all the templates. These are what run your website. So we were just looking at the page template, which displays single pages. You got the single template, which displays single posts. The home one, this one's a little confusing because it displays the blog posts on the home page. But if you have a static homepage set, it shows on your post page. So this home template actually runs our blog page. Hopefully that doesn't twist your mind too much. The index is the default option if none of the other templates apply. And we're going to create a new one here. So if we click add new, I think this is another new feature with 6.1. They have more categories for these templates. So we're going to do a front page template that's going to override the pages template. Let's jump right into the header. And I normally like to do things just through the list view again, so I'm selecting the right nested item. So I'm going to expand all of these, and it's showing a page list of all the published pages on our site. I want to create a menu. So we're going to jump up to the navigation block, and we can create a new menu over here. And now it's called header navigation. And we have to add items to it, which we can manually do. And that's going to allow us to reorder it. And also you can publish pages that aren't part of the main navigation menu. So we got the header navigation menu completed, and now you got the individual items here, which you can move around. And then I want to replace this with our tagline. So this is just a heading element right now. I believe there is a tagline element, but let me just search for tagline, and this is what you can insert, the site tagline. It's obviously showing a small text. So we can adjust the size here, and I think extra large looks pretty good to me. Let me see if there's a way that I can make this bold. Let me go to the appearance here. I'm going to set this to bold italic, and I'm also going to center it. And I'll just delete this heading element right here. And then I'm just going to put a gallery in here. But what I'm going to do is let the home page control the content. I don't want to build the content directly into this template. You can insert the gallery from the home page. And what you want to put here is the post content block. Right now, this is showing blog posts from the post template block. Let me remove this post template block, and I will insert the post content block. And then I can also get rid of this query loop, since the query loop is what displays our blog post, and we're not doing that on the static home page. And then for this post content block, I'm going to change this to max width 1200 pixels so it's wider. Again, this is showing text right now, but we're going to insert a WordPress gallery on the home page. And at the bottom, we got this 2-column layout, but the right column really has nothing. So what I'm going to do is move this button up here and center it. So this is a good example of if you try and drag the button block, it's not going to work. You have to drag the buttons block, which is the higher level one. And then we can center that, which is this option right here, justify item center. And then you can link this up to the contact page. In fact, I'll just change this text to contact me. We'll highlight it and add the link and just search for contact. And if you have that published, it'll pop up here. And I have the spacer below here. I'm just going to move this up, which you can either drag and drop or use these directional arrows to move up or down. And I will just simply delete this columns block. And then down here, you notice that if we hover over this plus button, it says add pattern. If we do it up here, it says add block. So the patterns, I believe, are linked to the theme. I'm guessing that all these block enabled themes have patterns, and there might be some patterns that apply across all themes. But we're going to click browse all so you can add any of these in. The one that I'm going to do is the media and text. And this is going to be kind of like a little biography call out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want this to be max width 1200, just like the post content. And I don't see that option here. I think I have to put this within a group. So let me insert a group before. And anytime you're adding a new block here, you can see they give you this dialog, type slash to choose a block. So you can just hit the slash button and then search for whatever you're looking for. So we're going to add a group block, and I'm just going to drag and drop this within here. And this blue line, you can see, tells you whether or not you're nesting it or not. Now that we have that within a group, you can see this option, align, which I don't think was there before. This is where we can set it to max width 1200. And I'm going to change this to show the media on the right. I'm going to change the media width. Instead of doing 50-50, we're going to make it 62. And then I'm going to replace this image here with our headshot image from the media library. And I also want to change the background of this to make it stand out. So we'll set the background color to one of our theme template colors, our contrast color. And we got to change the text, which I'm not sure if setting it here will update it. It doesn't look like it updated it on here. But I think if you add a new block now, that it should take on that text color. And then I'm going to set the link color to our yellow. And that actually did update. So let's go into the heading. And I can change this text color to our theme color. You can add in a little paragraph text here. And we'll make this center. And then you can change this link. Right now, this link doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to change this to my full story. And then we'll link it to the about page. And then right below this, I'm going to add social icons. I want to add a block, not pattern. So let me just add it in within this group right under the media and text. I can insert after. And I'll search for social. This is where we can add our social icons. We can hit the plus button to add them. And obviously for a photographer, you'd think Instagram would be the most popular. Now there's a few things with this as well. And I don't know if this is a bug or not, but you can see that these are circular, but then when you hover over it, you see the square. And I don't think that that happens on the live website when I last tested it. And the other thing is that because these don't have links, they won't show up until you actually add a link. And then we can change the justification. I want to make sure that these open in a new tab. And then you can also adjust the block spacing here. And I'd also like to make these bigger. So we'll jump to the size here and change that to large. And the last thing I'm going to do is add these social icons to the footer. So they're at the bottom of every page. And I can actually copy this block. If you wanted to duplicate this exactly, you could just create a template part or a reusable block. But I'm going to make these icons smaller in the footer. So we'll just copy this block. And I'll jump down here, hit Control V to paste that block in. And I can delete the paragraph text and then just customize this. I'm going to keep it completely the same, just change the size down to normal size. Let's go ahead and save these changes and you'll see how we're updating all these various parts of the templates. So this is what I was mentioning before. You can see we're updating our front page template. We edited the header and the footer, and we're adding a new navigation menu. So let's save all these changes. As I mentioned before, we'll go into the home page right now to add our gallery. So we can jump back to our dashboard, go into our pages, and add the gallery through this. And this is displayed through the post content block within our template. So we'll just search for gallery here. And I will quickly add this gallery with 6 images. So we'll create this gallery, edit one quick thing, and that's the spacing. So I want to make these have 0 spacing. And this is where you can change the link. Right now it's linking to nothing, but you can either do the media file or the attachment page. There's also ways to do a modal window, a pop-up to maximize it. But we're going to just keep this simple. We'll update, and now we can take a look at our home page that has our template in place along with our content now. So you can see how quickly we updated that to make it look nice. And like I said here, when you hover over these icons, they don't turn square like they do on the back end. I don't know why that is. It's got to be some kind of bug. But this home page is a nice start. Now let's jump into the inner pages. And the next template that we're going to update will be the pages template. We're back within the editor looking at the list of the templates. So let's scroll down to get to the page template, which is displaying our single pages. And this one, I'm just going to make a few really quick changes. The first that we saw is we had this overlay on the featured image. So if I jump into this featured image block, you can adjust that over here. And I'm just going to reset this. I'm going to reset everything. That way we show our featured image in full color. We don't want any overlay on that. I'm also going to change this max width to 650, since that's the inner width of our post content. I'm going to center the post title, and I'm just going to remove the comment section here. So let me jump into the list view, and I don't want comments on pages. So let's delete this comments block completely. That's the only changes we're going to make on this template. So let's save it. We'll refresh our about page to see how that looks. So now this is a lot cleaner. We can also go to our contact page. This is also running this template, but we don't have any test content in here. I just set the featured image. One thing I do want to add is a contact form. I'll show you how to do this very quickly using a plugin. So we'll go back to the dashboard, go to the plugins, and we want to add a new plugin. And the one that I've been using really since I started using WordPress, probably about a decade or so ago, is Contact Form 7. It's one of the most popular contact form plugins on WordPress. You can see they got 5 million plus active installations. You may need to do some custom CSS styles if you want to design it to get it to look more modern, but if you just need something functional, this is the easiest way to do it. So we'll install that, activate it, and it's going to create this new menu called Contact, and they already set up a form for you. So you can either insert it through the shortcode. You can copy and paste the shortcode wherever you like within a page or a post. And if you go in here, this is how you can edit your form. So you build your form in here, and then you go to this next tab to create the email that gets sent after somebody completes the form. But let's just take this standard form and let's insert it into our contact page. So we'll go back to the pages. And not only can you copy and paste the shortcode, but Contact Form 7 also has a block. So if you just search for contact, it should pop up here. And then you get to select from the dropdown which contact form you would like to appear on this page. So let's update that and go back to our contact page. And now we have a functional contact form. We'll move on to the next template, which is the one showing our blog posts. So this is, again, the home template, even though right now it's applied to our blog page. And I'm just going to make a few small changes to this because, for the most part, I do like the look of this blog post layout with the featured image. Obviously, we need to change the title here. So I'll just call this blog, and we will center it. And then within the posts here, I'm going to center these elements. So I'll center the titles, and you'll see that it applies to all of them. So I'm going to check out the list view here. I'm going to remove this post excerpt. I don't really need any text there. I just want to keep the title with the date. And for the date, I want to center this, but I also want to add a calendar icon to the beginning of it. So what I'm going to do is put this date in a row block, and you can choose to align the items within that. So let me insert before, and I'll search for row. So let me drag and drop the post date into that row. And we're just going to add a paragraph block, and I'll paste in this calendar emoji, and I can move it to the left there. I'm going to go back to the row, make sure that the justification is center. We can adjust our block spacing here. I'm going to set both of these to 1. And the final thing that I'm going to add is the post categories. That wasn't included within this template to begin with. So I'll add that post categories after this row. We'll do insert after and just search for categories. And that presents our categories. And we can also put in a prefix and a suffix. I can just paste in a folder icon emoji. And I think I need to put this in a row again to be able to center it. So let me do that. So we got our justification set. And then you can change the view here to take a look on mobile and tablet. And when you're on mobile, you can see that it's all one column. And this is our mobile menu. You can see here with the builder, it's kind of a pain to open and close this mobile menu. Let me just save this right now. I'm going to exit out of here and refresh it to get that clean editor window again. Let's first take a look at the website. So I can refresh, and this was our old layout. Now we have our new layout. And the one thing you can also tell is that the icons are changed. I think WordPress by default swaps out emojis with predefined images. I could be wrong about that. So on the back end, the calendar actually had blue in it, and the folder icon was kind of like a manila file folder, and now it's blue. The one thing I do want to edit is the margin or the padding on this title, just to give it a little less space. I don't think it needs this much between the image and the date. So let's quickly update these couple of things. We'll go back to our editor window. And I think that these are ordered by when you update them. So right now the home is at the top of our list. So let's go back to the title and I'll look at the dimensions options. Let me start with the margin. And you can see how that is smaller with this. So we're going to set the margin to 1. And I think I can add a space in between this file folder. Now, I saw one weird thing over here. You can see that this section is showing down here, but on the editor, I don't see anything. But if you jump into list view, there is this blank pattern here. So I'm guessing that's why that's happening. I'm going to remove that as well. I might as well just remove the spacer too. Let me once again just save, do another quick refresh and see how all these changes look. So now our blog posts are a little bit tighter there. So what I'm going to do is save this query loop for the blog post as a template part because I also want to update the archive page template. So now we're back on the template and I'll click this query loop and I want to create a template part. And you can name this whatever you want. I just called it query loop with icon. So let's create this. And oddly enough, when I created that, I just changed the width. So we're going to make this max width 1200, reset that. Let's save. And I want to go into the archive template really quickly. That's down here, and it shows that it displays the categories, the tags, and other archives, which I believe would also include your author links. We're going to go ahead and center this title, and we can remove this query loop with our template part. And I will insert our template part after. And if you just search out template part, this is where you can choose which one you'd like to add. So this is what's showing here, query loop with icons. This is our custom one. So we'll insert ours. Once again, we have to update this max width. This should be done after just those couple of changes. And now it's using our formatting. And with that, we only have one more template to update, and that's going to be the single post template. So if we jump into one of these blog posts, you can see how we have the same issue that was on the page template. We're back here on the list of templates, and we can go right into the single post template. We'll make the same change that we made on the page template here by resetting the color, and we'll set this width to 650. I'm going to center the post title. And I want to put in some of this meta information. Right now, it's being displayed all the way at the bottom. So let me jump into the list view and take a look at all these blocks here. And I'm going to drag and drop this post meta here under the title. And let me expand this so I can take a look at what's in here. And we have a spacer, which I'm just going to delete. There's a separator, which we're also going to delete. And here we have a group. We have columns. We have 2 columns. And we have rows. So this is a very complicated layout. I'm just going to simplify all this. Let me again expand until I get all this information. And all that I want here is the post date and the categories. And just like they have text before it, I'm going to use the same format, but I'm going to paste in those icons instead. And I'm going to keep the row as well. So I'm going to drag and drop this row all the way up to the post meta block. I want that to be the first level beneath that. This entire group we can get rid of. And now I can center this. I can change the first paragraph to my calendar icon. And then I can change the second paragraph here to my folder icon. And I'll also edit these dimensions here. Let me do both the block spacing and the padding. And I'm going to set both of these to 1. So that's all I'm going to update here. And we could also center this as well, the comments heading. And I think this is going to look good for the single post template. So let's save this and take a look on our website. And now we have our new single post layout, which looks very similar to our blog page layout with the post meta information. Even though this is a photography website, I want you to think about how you can apply this to any type of website that you build using the WordPress blocks. Now, as you saw throughout this tutorial, the WordPress full site editing unlocks a lot of capabilities, but it is still in its infancy. There are a few bugs that we saw today. I'm sure there's certain features that they're going to continue to add as new WordPress versions are released. It really helps to understand the entire WordPress ecosystem. And to help you do that, I put together a free WordPress training. You can check that out at websiteprofitcourse.com/WP101. Now, if you enjoy working with WordPress the same way that I did and want to take your skills and start freelancing, grab my cheat sheet, 15 tools to start your web design business. You can find that on my homepage, websiteprofitcourse.com. And that includes the premium theme that I use, which is Divi. They kind of solved the WordPress full site editing problem. So they got more features than what WordPress currently offers. And recently I switched over pretty much all of my personal websites and client websites to Divi. So if you want to check out that along with a bunch of other tools, grab that cheat sheet. All of these links that I mentioned today will be in the description below, including the one-page tutorial guide if you want to recreate what we went through today. Last but not least, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have any problems along the way, you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm interested in your experience with full site editing and whether you're new to WordPress and just learning it, or if you're a longtime WordPress user and you're getting used to it from the old system. And lastly, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see all future WordPress tutorials and web design freelancing videos. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll link up a few other videos here if you want to keep on learning.